What's going on, guys? Magdallan here. A little bit of a different kind of video today. Obviously, Diablo 4 has launched and I went ahead and picked it up. But I have decided I'm probably not going to make the same kind of content for this game that I do for Path of Exile. And so I want to talk a little bit about that and then just kind of talk about my impressions of the launch and my first, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of play. Maybe a little bit more than that. So I wasn't sure I was going to pick the game up. I made a couple of videos during the beta weekends and shot quite a bit of footage of 3 or 4 of the classes, and it was pretty draining. Just doing the same, slice of the beginning of the game over and over, back to back, and just kind of with no variance other than the actual class I was playing was really, really boring for me. I wasn't really enthused with the story. I thought the cinematics were kind of cheesy, and the balance seemed kind of all over the place. And so I was just kind of on the fence about it in general. But having talked to some buddies of mine and just kind of doing some reflection on it, I came to the conclusion that having done the YouTube thing for about a year, it's kind of had some negative effects on my mindset in terms of just being a gamer. And one of those is that I don't often really stop and actually think about, do I want to play a game because I want to play it? It's mostly, what kind of content could I make if I played this? If I'm thinking about whether or not I'm going to buy a game, it's like, well, is it worth the money? Will I be able to make some videos out of it that I'll be happy with? And those are the ways that I kind of have started thinking about games in general. And I got to a point in Path of Exile's Crucible League where I had pretty much done what I wanted to do. And so I was kind of taking a break. And so one thing I did was I fired back up World of Warcraft to check out their 10.1 patch. And I made like one World of Warcraft video a while back, and I mean, like, nobody watched it. And so I had already decided I was not going to make any videos of that. I was literally just taking a break from Path of Exile and doing some Mythic Plus dungeons on my own. No camera, no nothing, and I really enjoyed that. It was very liberating. It felt really good, and so I kind of sat and thought, well, do I want to play Diablo 4 or not? And if not, is it because I don't think I'm going to be able to make good content for the game, or is it because I actually don't want to play it? And I decided that I did want to play the game. I mean, I spent I don't even know how many hours playing Diablo 2 way back in the day when it first came out. I was just a little kid. I was sneaking down to the basement to the family computer, firing that shit up at like 2 in the morning after everybody else was asleep, and playing for 3-4 hours and then sleeping for 1 hour, waking up and going to school and then coming home and sleeping more. And I played a barbarian back then, and then when Diablo 3 came out, I played a shitload of that game too. I know the hours on that one, and it was thousands of hours that I got out of that, and most of that was spent playing a barbarian. I've always enjoyed the class. I like the power fantasy. I like the way they've set it up. Whirlwind obviously being my favorite skill. You can see I'm not playing Whirlwind at the moment, but for most of my time so far, I was playing Whirlwind. I just kind of, just now at about level 20, 21, started messing around, changing up my skills. But yeah, so I kind of decided I did want to experience this game as it came out and fire up the barbarian, fucking go to the store, get the Doritos, and just kind of sit here and fucking game out. And I'm glad that I did. And the launch was, frankly, I've never seen anything like this before. There was zero queue, and it just runs flawlessly. There's no problems. I haven't encountered, I don't think, a single bug. One time I couldn't attack or do anything, and I had to log out and log back in, but that was right after I had plugged the controller in and played with that for a little bit, and then unplugged it, and that could have been that could have been on my end. So, I mean, the experience has been amazingly smooth. The game just runs like a dream, and I don't remember any game that I've played that was a live service type game that had any substantial expected player base that started this smooth. And I mean, obviously, not everybody is going to have purchased the version of the game that would have allowed them to log in at this time. So maybe when the full release happens, there'll be some issues with the servers then, or maybe there will be later today when peak hours happen. Who knows? But as far as 6 p.m., which is when it started in my time zone, I was able to just click play right when it started, and I was just off to the races. And pull up my map here. I started off and did some of the stuff that was in the beta, and then I kind of ran up into this area here and did a few things. And I will say, I'm concerned at the replayability of the campaign because it seems like it's going to be a pretty long campaign. And also, as I said, I just don't think the storytelling is super compelling. It's just not for me. There's been a couple NPCs that I thought were kind of interesting, and a couple of the voice actors I think did some really crazy good work, but I'm just not into it. It just isn't hitting home for me. Maybe that's going to change as we get into the later stuff down here. And I also have to say the boss encounters so far have been kind of lame, in my opinion. I'm hoping that as the game progresses, I'm gonna encounter some more like actual, monsters. A lot of it has just been, I mean, the boss I just did up here was just like just a humanoid, just a chick that stands there and casts some shit at you. And so we'll see how that goes. But I am worried about having to repeat the campaign during each, season that comes out. If it ends up being a game that I want to, follow on the season cycle. But if I understand it correctly, I believe there is a mechanism that if you've completed the campaign, you can skip it essentially and just go straight into doing some other kind of content, kind of how they did with Diablo 3. But I don't know if that's going to mean if you have an eternal character, I think they're calling it, the equivalent of standard. I don't know if that counts. And so then when the season launches, if you can just bypass the actual story campaign with your first character in the league or not. But if you have to actually repeat the entire campaign every time a league launches and every time you make a character, that's going to be kind of rough. But once I got past the stuff that I had done over and over in the beta, and I started getting up into here and seeing some new zones going on and new monster types and whatever, I've been enjoying it. And I've been pretty much just doing the story quests. As you can see, I haven't really filled out the map a whole lot. I haven't been finishing or picking up very many of the side quests, and that for me is kind of a fail-safe, where if the game is good enough at endgame that I want to make more characters, I figure if I have to do it again, at least I'll have side quest content that I can kind of experience that'll alter the drudgery of having to do the same stuff over and over again. But I mean, that's really my only concern so far. Is I'm hoping there's going to be some cooler bosses towards the later parts of the game, and I'm hoping that there's a really easy way to just not have to do the entire campaign over and over again. But as far as the gameplay goes, Barbarian feels really fun. I'm playing on World Tier 1. I'm taking it really chill. I'm not in a rush to level up. It's a really expensive game. And so I have no interest in trying to immediately min-max everything and rush to the end game. I'm not doing that. That seems foolish to me. I've got it on the easy setting. As I said, I've got my Doritos, I got my coffee. I'm just kind of hanging out, and when I want to take a break, I take a break. And I think that's the way to approach a launch like this. Is just I'm not looking at build guides. I'm not looking at guides for where to find all the statues, the Lilith things that you collect. If I find them, I find them. I'll worry about making sure I've got all that stuff either once I hit endgame or on the second character or whatever. For the purposes of my first playthrough, I just want to experience it as I would have, at any other time when I wasn't focused on content creation. I think Path of Exile is probably always going to be the main game that I make content for on YouTube. I'd like to maybe do more videos like this where I just kind of describe my experience and talk a little bit about the game, but we'll see. If people are interested, I'll make more stuff like this, but I just wanted to kind of make this one video at least to kind of let everybody know what I've been doing. I haven't put a video up in a couple weeks, and just kind of almost as a little bit of a diary, I guess, as a little vlog. just kind of talk about the game a little bit. And, you know, I haven't really gotten any crazy gear. I got this one legendary item off of the Act 1 boss. And other than that, I mean, I've just been kind of picking up rares when I can. I mean, you can see I've still got some blues going on. And seems to run fine. The whirlwind build that I just kind of made up was working okay. I noticed I was getting a little bit squishy, so I kind of switched back, and I'm trying the rend and flay type thing with all the war cries. That was the, I think Creparian was the one that recommended that in a tier list video like a month and a half ago. So again, I don't know if that's a build that's actually, you know, super viable at endgame, or if it's the most optimized choice, but it works okay. And yeah, I mean, ultimately that's about it. The game seems to be in a pretty good state, and it, as far as I can tell, is essentially bug-free. Launch was amazingly smooth. Combat is enjoyable. The diversity of zones and monsters is pretty good. And as I said, once I got past the parts of the campaign that were available in the beta that I had done 3 or 4, whatever number of times right in a row, I'm pretty well enjoying it. And I mean, a really good sign is it's, you know, I don't even know what time it is, but it's before 7 a.m. So I went to bed at, I don't know, 1 or 2, and then only slept for 4 hours, and here I am filming a video real quick, and then I'm going to jump right back in and play the game. And I think that's probably the best possible sign. If I played the game for most of the evening and then I couldn't, you know, stay asleep for 8 hours, and then, you know, I'm excited to continue playing first thing in the morning, I can't think of any better endorsement than that. You know, we'll see what happens going forward, but for now, I'm really happy. I'm gonna keep playing the game. I'm excited to, you know, get through the rest of the campaign and then kind of start checking out the other YouTube content. I haven't really been watching a lot of people streaming it or anything like that because I didn't want anything to get spoiled. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what other people have to say. But for me, so far, it's been a really good experience. That's about all I've got for you guys today. I will maybe make another one of these in, you know, another day or two, but I'm not going to force it. So you might see more content on Diablo 4 from me, or you might not. But this is what I'll be doing for the foreseeable future, at least, you know, for the next couple of weeks. And then we'll see. Maybe I'll return to Path of Exile and make some mid-late league type content. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll just kind of chill out, play some games, and then hop back in and cover the stuff when ExileCon happens and all of that. So yeah, hope at least 1 or 2 little bits of this was interesting, and if it was, do give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Appreciate you.